everyone, and welcome to Walford Weekly, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week we'll be discussing the episodes broadcast in the UK on the BBC from Monday the 29th of March to Friday the 2nd of April. Now this week we are joined by, well, I would say special guest. I would say someone we're all fond and want to hear the opinion of. But we'd be lying. It's Ben, everyone. Ben's
Hello,
here.
I am.
Ben,
Impromptu, because we're battling Scottish weather, you see.
That's right. Apologies to Rob. This week we asked if Rob wouldn't mind stepping down just because Ben and I wanted to get a podcast recorded a bit earlier this morning, just so we could get outside and enjoy the Scottish weather, because I think that on Bunny Day, the actual day where the eggs are given out, we're going to have floods.
Yeah.
So we thought, you know what, we're going to make the most of the day.
It was our only day off together, wasn't it? But I'm here unexpectedly in the house. Yeah,
so anyone who's tuned in to listen to Rob, he will be back next week. I hope Rob will be back next week. Please come back next week, Rob. I love chatting with Rob, and apologies again, but we'll be back. We're with Ben this week, and
I'll do my best to be as good as Rob.
Exactly. No one. Let's be honest.
Obviously,
Rob,
I'm better than Alex, anyway. So it doesn't matter.
The general census on social media is that is true. As I say, we're going to discuss the stories that happen on EastEnders this week. I'm very curious because Ben hasn't been on the show for a little while, and any new listeners, Ben was the OG.
Oh yeah, people might not even know.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Ben is my partner and OG presenter of the Walford
EastEnders
Weekly. Yes, back in the old days. And you left about 4 months ago.
It was whenever Tina and Kush were axed. That was just
you had enough. That was
the
you
end.
done.
No, it was quite a while ago.
A lot has happened since then, and I think if that wasn't the turning point, then a lot of other things might have been your turning point too.
No, I'm still watching. I've not missed an episode. So
yeah. What's your favourite storyline generally at the moment that's happened in the last?
Generally, yeah.
Like, has it been the?
It's hard to even think of any storylines. Probably
Chelsea.
The Slate. No, not Chelsea. Nah, not her. Probably like the Slater orbit, I guess.
Yeah.
Slater Ruby orbit, full of good actresses, so it's always fun.
Although ignored by half the Slater family, as we found out this week.
I know. Kat, she was sat in the cafe looking at Phil, but doesn't care that Stacey's in prison or where Tommy is.
No, all she cares about is her love life.
Very odd. And the two little boy twins, they're disappeared too, haven't they?
Bert and Ernie.
There's 3 missing children.
That name's still...
I know, that's Dominic Treadwell-Collins' worst decision in life.
Yeah.
So did they just think it was funny, like Bert and Ernie? What are they going to be like in like 20 years' time? They're going to have like nicknames.
Well,
the Moon Brothers.
Talking of nicknames, an article came out this week where Sonia's dad, Brian Connolly, he's kind of talked a little bit more about what's happening with his introduction of the soap. And we're a little bit worried now because he didn't
such high hopes of that one photo of it.
He didn't.
It's like Iqra and Habib all over again when their promo shots came out, isn't it?
And then more information started coming out, and we were like, oh dear. He didn't audition for the role. They wrote the role for him, which is a good thing, isn't it? That means they've got confidence in Brian Connolly.
Yeah, well, John Sen said it was something like, don't quote me, I don't know the exact quote, but it was something like the show's too doom and gloom, so we wanted to brighten it up and have some comedy or something.
Yeah.
So, well, you chose these doom and gloom storylines, love. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not that doom and gloom. We've got Honey.
I'd say it's not that doom and gloom at all. In fact, I think it's one of the brighter times.
Got Foxcatcher, who's giving us a laugh a minute.
Yeah, Kim's making... Well, I don't mind that story. I'm enjoying it. But, I mean, I don't think... The only thing that's bringing the show down, and I'm sure if Rob is listening, he's probably now grinding his teeth, is the gangster storylines. And that's the only doom and gloom I can think of.
Haven't had them for a week, though. So
yes, well, okay, let's get on. So we're talking, first of all, about the Kush, Whitney and Gray story. And Gray he's taken his wedding ring off. He's determined that he's going to get Whitney in his life. He's threatened Kush out of earshot of Whitney by saying, when you go to prison, it's going to be for 5 years and Whitney's going to forget about you no matter, even though they've proposed to each other this week and they're getting married. Gray's adamant he's still going to get Whitney.
It's moving a mile a minute, isn't it? Like Kush was in love with Kat a few weeks ago and now he's proposing and getting married next week to Whitney.
Yeah.
Gray did let Kush and Whitney show his evil side though. He when his hair gets messed up a bit and he gets a bit evil.
His top button gets undone.
He showed that to them both, didn't he? And Kush had a little look, I saw.
Well, he does a side eye to him. Every time he says something complimentary to Whitney, he always kind of looks at him with suspicion. Because Whitney wanted to apologise for last week when she had a go at Gray.
Oh yeah.
And a means of apologising, she went to the
his
gala.
date, yes.
Yeah, the royal gala
At Ruby's.
At Ruby's, and she wore Chantel's old dress, which is a bit like wearing a dead woman's clothes, literally, isn't it?
It is, and her jewellery as well. Probably her perfume, her underwear.
Hope he washed it.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. Does Chantel and Whitney fit the same? Because Chantel was a skinny little tall thing, wasn't she?
Well, if you remember rightly, when Whitney was starting her clothing empire and she was taking photographs on Instagram
Of Chantel.
of Chantel, she presumably she was making the clothes to fit herself first. So I guess they are similar body sizes, shape, and so on and so forth. So I didn't think it was too out of the realms of possibility.
Creepy though.
Oh, it's incredibly creepy. It's like Norman Bates putting on his mother at the Bates Motel. It's very similar to that. It's terrifying.
And the iconic like Grey's boss made an appearance, who I love. I love her so much.
Yeah.
I want her to take Grey down, actually, not Whitney or Kush or Kat.
Yeah.
Or Karen or Mitch. I want her to. She's badass.
Well, she's kind of given him a warning, hasn't she? It's like, you know, taking your own clients and dating your own clients is a bit dangerous and not something that's seen as the.
Well, it's better than killing your own clients, like he did with Tina.
Yes, that is true. That's very true.
I am hoping that Kush doesn't die. I'm still hoping this. I know all signs are pointing to his death.
No, I don't think they are. See, this is where you
just
and
go
I
to jail, please.
disagree. I don't think they are pointing to his death. I think, yes, there was a line where they said this week, oh, you know, I want to spend the rest of our lives, or the rest of my life together with you.
And we're so happy. They've been so happy.
But I don't think Grey, I think if there was ever a case that Grey may take someone to hide them out for a very, very long time, or maybe pay for him to kind of leave. Maybe he'll find something on Kush, and he'll and unlike Tina, who wouldn't leave because you know she wanted to stay with the family.
She's an idiot. She locks herself in an empty room and threatens it.
Yeah, Kush really doesn't have a lot to stay for, and if I think enough of a seed is planted in Kush's head that Whitney doesn't want him there, which I'm sure Grey.
I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I wondered if Grey was going to offer to work for Kush on his case and like deliberately be a bad lawyer and get him sent down. Like maybe that could happen.
I think Grey has already shown his hand by saying to him this week, you know, in a real evil manner, like, you know, you are going to go down for 5 to 6 years, and you know it was done with malice behind
longer
it.
than Lucas.
Yeah, well, good behaviour.
We'll see him next month, won't we?
Yeah, we'll be out in a month and he'll be smuggling drugs across the border.
That's the ideal outcome, though, is Kush goes to jail.
Well, or Kush just leaves without dying.
Yeah, just don't die, please.
Yeah, basically don't kill Kush.
Although Davude's opened his own gym now, so he's well away.
With Sharon.
Oh, yeah. See, that could be a storyline for Kush.
Yeah. But instead, she's teamed up with Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Talking of which, Sharon has been very busy this week, starting up her own business, as I said, her own gym. She's reopening Ronnie's. I forgot about that boxing gym that they used to
It was
be there.
mentioned like a year ago. Like, there was like one line of dialogue about the gym with Jack, someone, I can't remember when, and we were like, what? That's weird. And then we didn't hear anything ever again. So, yeah, it's a bit weird that Jack's not utilised because he's a bit of a property mogul, isn't he?
Yeah,
normally he
would have
utilises
used that.
everything, turn it into 10 flats.
Does Jack still own it then? Is it?
Well, she phoned Jack, didn't she, and said, I've got a proposition for you.
Okay, but then she did the sale through an estate agent.
Maybe Jack sold it to someone, she asked who he sold it to.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe there's gold bars hidden in there.
But the gold bar
under the floorboard.
Ben's plan was to overpay for the building so that he could buy it from under Sharon's nose. Because he wants to punish Sharon still. Because Sharon, first of all, was sniffing around Phil again this week. And
she walked into the light, didn't she?
Yes, the
she found the light.
she asked Phil...
She joined Sarah's cult from 1997.
Maybe that's what she's starting, a new religion in that building. Yeah, she asked Phil to help her out to get a legacy for her son.
Oh, yeah.
But then after she having a bit of quite a heated discussion, let's just say, with Ben, she realised that she needed to do it on her own and she didn't need the Mitchells anymore to prop her up.
No, and I like how she admitted finally that Phil and her are toxic for each other. So I kind of think that's kind of drawing a line under her and Phil for a bit. In Secrets from the Square, Letitia Dean did say they have moved on now.
Good.
And I don't think Tish is a liar.
But it's like everyone is a doorstop for Phil, aren't they? Everyone's like
Kat's the new one.
Yeah, Kat's the new one for him, and for Ben, it's Callum. You know, literally they just need someone who they can just put the weight of everything onto, and they just sit there and grovel and go, "Oh, please, thank you. Can you put more muck on me? Thank you very so much."
But it was funny how Sharon came to the conclusion of a gym is her career. Because like for months she's been going on about the Vic is the one place I feel safe. Angie and Den were there. Michelle got shot there. My one true love. And then she was like, oh, sold that. Now I'm onto the gym, which is her next like empire.
Well, it was
after one conversation with Peter, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't even a conversation with Peter. It was an off-the-cuff comment that Peter had made to someone else saying fitness is the future.
Oh, yeah, and that's coming from Peter Bill, who has an allowance at 30.
I know, exactly that. And, he claims he's got this personal training business, but we've really only seen him do it once.
To girls he wants to,
do stuff with.
Yeah, I know. Slip of the tongue.
Ho with.
Yeah, so that's the only reason he uses it, isn't it?
And Sharon said that she's noticed that he has little conversations about like making fun of the women that he trains, and he's not very woke.
Does he? I didn't see
He's not very woke, Peter.
Oh, he's horrible. I hate him.
He's just such a nasty character, isn't he?
Such an Ian Beale. He's nothing like his mum Cindy.
Yeah, but
clever and conniving.
Well, no, that's very true. I mean, Peter. I'm sure Peter was never this annoying, was he?
Well, he was always like just a wet flannel, really.
Yeah, but he's not a wet. The thing is, he's
now
not
he's
a wet
just like
flannel now. He's just a
horrible womanizer.
Yeah,
who's a bully.
Yeah, he's a bully. He's a real bully. And like, even when Sharon came up to him and offered him this, the job as being the personal trainer at the gym, he was still kind of really dismissive about it. Like,
well, I would be if Sharon walked up to me and I'd be like, "Listen, have you looked at that gym? It's literally." She hasn't even found a name or done it up or anything yet.
I bet. What do you think the name will be? I genuinely
It's going to be some sort of weird pun.
Sharon's gym. Oh yeah, of course it is, because Kate Oates loves a pun. Look at Coronation Street. It's one great big pun.
So you have to think of called Sharon's Ring or something, called Glory Gym or something, or Hole in the Wall, or I don't know, something dirty. Or maybe named after Dennis or Den or Ange.
Oh yeah, Denny's.
It
can't be Den's Den, can it?
No, that was the club.
That was the club.
What is it? A gym?
Denny's
Boxing.
Fitness.
Yeah.
Box Den.
It will be something to pull on the heartstrings of the viewers.
But also a pun. You're
also
quite right.
Sexual.
Yes, it will be an innuendo pun. Because as you say, that seems to be the way that.
But she wants in on the money laundering. Does she still want in?
No, she doesn't want. That's what she changed her mind about. That's when she walked into the light, because she found Jesus just in time for Easter. She said to Phil, "I don't want anything to do with it, because I want to do it straight and I want to do it on my own."
So I wonder who will work in the gym, because Sharon's not going to be working in there. Let's be real. She'd never worked in her club, let alone a gym.
I'm hoping Sharon does, and she wears a tracksuit all the time. Like, that's her costume from now on. She wears her white trainers.
And she can get her white trainers out.
Pink jeggings. And
lots of people will use the gym, because Ruby likes her yoga, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So she'll use it.
I think it'll be a use set.
Kat will do her pelvic thrust to tighten up.
While Sharon watches over through the glass box. Sonia would use the gym. She used to go to the gym all the time.
Oh yeah.
She made a real case for
Gastric
it.
band.
Absolutely. No, I think it'll be a used space, and I'm guessing that at some point Peter Bill will do something that will.
Also, her brother Zach. I'm sure Zach will work there or be topless there all the time.
Yes, well,
because he's topless on Instagram all the time.
Is he?
I've done the research for you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Sounded very difficult.
So it'll be him and Peter topless, basically. I feel, and Sharon just behind the bar, behind the reception.
I mean, you don't really need to bring Brian Connolly in to make us happy. Just have topless men in the gym, and then we're there. Yeah. We're there, centre stage.
Let's open up before Davude leaves, just for one scene for us all.
So Kheerat helped Sharon buy the gym because he told her how much Ben was paying and recommended that she paid an extra £500 to kind of buy it then from under his nose.
He's a thing for Sharon, doesn't he? Like a little.
He likes the older women, doesn't he? Because was Stacey older than him? I don't. God,
no, they're about the same
age.
No, Stacey's had an older woman. She's like 33. Stacey.
Oh, okay.
Sharon's 51.
It's because she's popped up so many babies. I just.
No, she's got more in her.
Yeah. But Kheerat.
But do you think he's?
I think he's got a thing.
Oh, a thing for it, not just like a.
I do.
Mother figure.
I just think Kheerat has a really high sex drive. I do genuinely, but I wouldn't surprise me if he's bisexual and he would maybe.
That would be the best outcome because he could just like shag around the square. He could be like the new Jack Branning, but with everyone.
Yeah, with every sex and Greek creed. Yeah, I think there's something going on with. Else, why would he help Sharon out? I mean, I get that Kheerat has that kind of soft side where he likes to see people work something out for themselves. Like he's done it. He's not only done it for Sharon. He's done it with other people in the past too. And I don't know. I think although he wants to kind of build up this reputation and this business with the Mitchells, at the same time he'll always have that softer side where he'll, kind of step back.
Yeah, he's not as ruthless as his mum, is he?
No, or Ben. I mean, Ben this week as well. What was he doing? Listening to what was it, the Kinks? On a
Oh yeah,
record
he was
player?
in like
That was bizarre.
the Panasar's like office as well, like help yourself.
Well, no, they use that now as like a shared office, don't they? That's like
weird.
that's like their HQ for
I don't see
gangster
Bernie in there.
shenanigans.
Bernie's meant to work there, isn't she?
Well, it's a bank holiday, isn't it? So maybe
Yeah.
Bernie was not working. Phone centre's closed on a bank holiday.
I didn't pay any attention to Ben this week, but yeah, he was listening to like a record, wasn't he, and trying to be all
He was listening to the
smouldering.
Yeah, it was like it reminded me.
Doesn't impress Kheerat.
It reminded me of a scene when Michael Moon. It was just before he had that scene with Janine, but when she stabbed him.
Oh, with Alice.
But there was and he was like playing Alice, and he was sat in his living room and he was listening to a record, and he was like basically laughing at her, and it reminded me of that scene a little bit. And I wondered if they're kind of going down that dark route with Ben again. They're going to do something. They're getting more and more dark with him. Because I know that he's, again, this week they talked about the wedding, the Ballon wedding, and Callum was getting like the table plan all sorted out. But
Callum wasn't. Lexi was.
Oh, sorry.
Callum was asleep.
yeah, but Lexi woke him up with her recorder. So it was
Very loud recorder.
Mm.
She's a very loud child, isn't she?
She
Like,
is.
if I was Callum, I would just be out of that. I'd be like, no.
But I just wonder if they're kind of, what route are they taking Ben down? Because
I don't think they know. They keep changing, don't they?
but they keep doing that with Callum. Like one minute he's like, this week he was nice as anything. He was all flowers and light and sweetness. And next week he'll probably be covering up a
You
murder.
would run someone over.
Yeah, knock someone down and steal gold bars. Like, do something like that, like Grand Theft Auto. So it seems to me, it's, again, almost reiterating my point last week, they just seem to chop and change exactly what Ben and Callum's personalities are every week.
I like to. Ben and Callum are very difficult to talk about because they're just so all over the show. There's like no rhythm to them. But I didn't mind. I like the more everyday scenes between them, so I'm glad we are getting them, I guess.
Yeah.
But the table plan's been organised, which is nice. Was Grant there? Where's
No.
Richie sitting?
I don't think Richie's got an invite either. I mean, Phil was forgotten. And until he blatantly explained to them, I'm the father of one of the
Yeah, I'll just be
rooms.
on the head
I will
table."
be on the head table. Oh yeah, that works, doesn't it? Yeah.
Maybe Callum doesn't want him there though. Very interesting.
Oh, do you reckon?
Well, when he said that to Callum, didn't he? And Callum was like, "You'll be at the back.
Here's a potato. See you later.
My nanny highway will be there instead." I hope there's some surprise. Is Pam? Pam needs to be at the wedding.
Pam definitely needs to be back
100%.
there. Pam and Les, really, ideally. But if it's just Pam,
Les
it'll
is
be enough.
doing the gardening or whatever he always does. So he's always doing something in Cornwall, isn't he?
But didn't they buy B&B or something? Is that why they went up there?
Maybe.
So maybe someone has to run the B&B.
Yeah.
It's a 24/7 job.
They should either just kill Les or recast him and just bring them both back.
What, have Birdie remarry?
Yeah, she can marry Terry Kant.
There you go. There's a story. And there'll be a nice comic duo, wouldn't they?
Yeah, she can be friends with Kathy, Pam, and Nana Highway. Could be a little 3 friendship with Cherie every now and then.
Oh, why is Cherie being left out?
Well, she's not. I just included her last minute.
Because you remembered her. Do you want to talk about Kim and her dating agency? Because there's a couple of things that happened around her this week.
Good storyline, actually. Just I don't like the comedy bit, but like the Iqra bits were good.
Well, funnily enough, I quite enjoyed the comedy bit because I just think Kim's just a fun character for me, and I enjoy the way that she's portrayed.
I know, but it's like a joke that goes on a bit too long. Do you know? That's how I feel at the moment.
I guess so, but when she has her serious moments, they seem to be a bit more impactful for me.
I think they forget that Tamika's actually really good at doing her serious moments because she hardly ever gets to do them, does she? Like the last time she had like a proper storyline was when Vincent was around.
Well, we know when Vincent went missing, and she thought that she was going to be a single parent, and she couldn't admit to it.
And you forget that she's quite, she's more than just this stupid comedy character, which I'd like to see more.
I think they will do more with Tamika, but at the moment, I think they're just using this as a kind of a bit of a comedy vehicle, which has then introduced 2 quite good stories. First of all, Bobby and his alter ego. Every time he puts the sunglasses on, it reminds me of the intro to
Elton John.
yeah, you could say that, but also CSI Miami.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
the
'cause they
intro-
put like a sunny filter on, don't they, on him? Yeah, because I like both of his dates so far, and then he keeps messing them up.
Not the
These 2
second
nice
one,
girls.
not the newest one this week.
Yeah, but that's for
he did lie
lies,
to her.
so he has messed it up.
a
trust
lot,
me.
a lot.
He owns Walford East and stuff. He's
Yeah.
basically pretending to be Peter, is he?
He's putting on Peter as his alter ego. Although didn't he originally say he was going to be one of was Kathy's brother called
Hills.
Yeah, was it going to
Or
be
maybe
called
he's called Peter Hills.
Peter Hill? I'm sure he added the Hills as his
Yeah.
surname, so I think it's Peter Hills. Yeah. Kathy gave him the sex talk, which is always useful. Just
I
before
know,
a
casual
date.
sex from
Yeah.
Nan.
If you're gonna have casual sex, don't forget to wear a condom. And what did he do straight away? bought a pack of condoms.
Yes,
So
from Suki.
I know. Of all the shops he could have gone to, he went to literally the one over the road, so Suki could mock him.
Idiot.
Yeah, but
Should have
to be
gone
fair,
from the Vic.
No, because then again that would be the Alfie Moon story when
Or
he's running
stolen
around
them.
the blooming. Remember when he was running around everywhere trying
The
to buy
whole
some
episode
condoms?
dedicated to it. Or stolen from Peter's room. I'm sure Peter has like 10 drawers full of them.
Peter probably has a wardrobe where you open the doors and they just
Step into a condom.
Yeah,
Full body.
They would all fall out of the flipping thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I thought it was a lovely date that he had, even though he did but he was showing confidence. So in a funny way, I kind of liked that Bobby needed to use it. And I think Bobby will eventually, if he finds the woman that he likes and the woman is understanding enough, I think he will.
But I think that girl would have liked Bobby for who he was. You know?
Well, the first girl did, and then he jumped out the window, didn't he? He was like running away.
Yeah, but she looks a bit like Lucy Beale, so that might have been not good.
True.
But the second one, I like her. I need Bernie now. Kim needs to get Bernie on the books.
Yeah, I mean, Bernie hasn't sniffed anywhere near Kim's dating agency. And also, can we just have a quick chat about Kim's dating agency? What is the Kim's dating agency exactly?
None of the logistics of this has really been like. One day she hooked 2 people up, didn't she? And then from there, she now has a registered business, a membership scheme, an app, a website, promo,
5-star reviews.
Where did it all come from?
I really don't know.
Literally overnight, she was like, "Oh, I now have a business."
But she's never really explained what the business is. Okay, it's a dating agency. I get that.
It's not really a thing anymore, like in these day and age, is it?
Most people just use apps that you swipe left and right with. You don't go specifically into an agency to find someone like video dating, like what Pete Bill, the original Pete Bill did. All right, I'm Pete's friends.
I mean, Natalie opened one as well. We must forget. Can't remember her surname, whatever her name is.
Evans?
That's how she met. Yeah, Natalie. That's how she met Barry. But that was a long time ago. Like, I don't think they really exist. Like, how much is her membership? Is it like a Netflix, like $9.99 a month?
That's another thing. I don't think she charges anyone.
No, she does, because she says people have their membership, so it's a paid.
So it's like a rolling fee every month. I mean, how much would you pay for a dating agency? Especially
nothing.
Well, no.
I would just download a dodgy app somewhere.
Tinder, yeah. That's true. It's free. But then I suppose Kim is selling her expertise. She did say this week she's selling
the divorced and widowed and
and husband ran away from
2 single mum with 2 kids. Yeah. Great advice.
Well, she said she uses science and expertise. That's what she said.
Where's the science and expertise coming from? Not Kim.
Her ass. That's where it's coming from.
Denise and Patrick.
But another success story was Iqra and Mila. And Kim wanted the Walford Gazette to do a full front page article all about the success of her app and how she's got these 2 girls together.
Yep, lesbian couple, check. Need a photo of it.
Yeah. Different ethnicities, check.
Yeah, multi-race, yep.
Yep. Love.
Off.
Yep. The Walford Gazette wanted lapping it up, they were. But Mila, when she realised they were taking photographs of her, like a stunned puppy, ran away when the flash was in her eyes, and it was a bit. Iqra bizarrely thought it was because she didn't want to be seen with her in public.
Yeah, I know. And then she was like, "Oh, I'm going to give up. I'm not going through all this
I
again."
know.
And I thought, what do you mean all this? Like, her and Ash didn't really have that much of a turbulent relationship, did they? I can remember.
I mean,
I
they broke
remember
up
how they broke up.
Well,
how did they break up?
Well, because Ash kept lying to her about going.
Oh yeah,
on
about
shift.
Habiba's baby and stuff.
Yeah, and she didn't like. Yeah, she didn't like that. She was keeping a secret about the whole Jags and Habiba thing.
That's it. Habiba must pop it out soon. It's been nearly 9 months.
Has it been 9 months?
Yeah, nearly there.
Wow,
how exciting!
Do you think we'll have a nice
Grandma Suki?
Do you think we'll have a Skype call between Habiba, Jags, and Suki?
I hope so. Habiba has got a new job, by the way. She's on a BBC show.
Oh yes, on iPlayer.
Yeah,
what's it called?
Flatmates, I think.
That's
Series 2. But it did get very serious, like all of a sudden, the storyline, because it was about Mila opened up to Iqra, and like she said, her family were religious. They didn't agree with that she might be a lesbian, and they took her to conversion therapy.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
Which I'm so pleased they're talking about, because again, under the current government that we're
I know, they won't ban it, will they?
They will not ban it. They will not. Boris has more important things to do than try to stop convert people because of their sexuality. Sighs loudly. But
although I see TikToks, not all the time, but some TikToks where people are like, my mum and dad sent me to conversion therapy. It's where I had my first
that's true.
Party, sausage party. So, you know.
There's a film, actually, I can't remember the name of it, and it's about a girl that goes to a conversion. It's an American film. She goes to a conversion camp. It's really good, and if I remember the name of it, I'll mention it next week. But it's a really good film. It's like a comedy, a black comedy about that same thing.
But luckily, Iqra has kind of been through this because she wasn't out to Miriam and Ashad, was she, for a long time, or her mum and dad?
But they were much more understanding about it.
They were, but she can give her advice.
Yeah, and that's another thing.
And she's sticking by. She's not running away.
And this is where their relationship can be built. And I'm really hoping that next week there's like scenes now with them, even if it's just the odd scene here and there where you see them kind of just having a general chat. This is what you want from a relationship on screen. You just want to. I know it's a bit boring to start with, but you don't want a relationship.
It's nice to see just every day, and it's just nice generally to see Iqra. She's been there over 2 years now, and she's a good actress. And Mila, that's not even her real name, is it? Her real name was something else, like Alba or something, she said. But they're both really good actresses as well, which is nice. So we just need some more everyday stuff.
Yeah, no, I entirely agree. And especially it's a gay relationship and it's a lesbian relationship, and we know that lesbian relationships...
And it's on screen.
And it's
Although
on screen.
I do feel like we've missed, like, a lot of their... Like, the way that Iqra was talking, it's like they're officially a couple, they quite like each other. We haven't actually seen them on a date before this time.
You saw them flirting, and then a couple of weeks has passed, and now they're at this point.
You saw Iqra stood on... a seat in the Albert on her own for like half a second, didn't you? But I hope they don't do like... Do you remember ages ago when Robbie found that girlfriend who worked in the Minute Mart? Right. And she was like a character for like 9 months. She came back a few years ago, didn't she, for like one episode? I can't remember her name, but whatever. I'm getting vibes of that from this storyline, and like in a few months' time they're gonna move in with it, Habiba, and that'll be both of them gone.
I'm wondering that.
I hope that's not the case, but
them leaving. But then I don't know. I mean, is there talking about Bernie quickly? Is there love on the cards for Bernie? Is there any kind?
I think she's got a date coming up.
Okay.
I don't know what happens. Oh, never mind, it's a spoiler. But there is one coming up, yes.
Right.
Will it go to plan, though? Who knows? No.
So we're going to have a little chat now about Mick's story with Linda and Frankie. Frankie's moved into the Vic. She wants to be part of the family, but Mick still can't quite say those words. She's my daughter.
Oh yeah, my staff.
yeah, that over there.
Those two bullies that were in the Vic were really funny, weren't they?
Yeah.
Were they a real life couple? Because they were next to each other, weren't they? And like...
Oh, perhaps.
Maybe,
but I don't think they were a couple on the show. I think they were just friends.
But they weren't socially distancing. They must have been in a bubble. No. They were the same age as Frankie. Well,
they were in the same school year, and obviously they were a bit tricky at school to Frankie then. And then
they peaked at school basically, and they can't get over it.
And so they literally went to find Frankie so that they could sit in the pub and make derogatory comments about her. It's like, how sad is that?
Mum,
Why did no one point that out to them? It's like you've literally wasted a day by sitting in the pub making fun of someone, and it's achieved nothing.
And making fun of someone who, like, their mum has sexually abused children, and they're like, ha ha ha. What are you trying to
What
get
a light-hearted
here?
comment. Yeah, exactly. What are you trying to prove here?
They're the type of people that won, like, prom queen and king in school, and they've just never gotten over school since. Yeah. I bet she teaches PE.
Do you know? I reckon she just sits at home with her 20 children and posts things on Instagram on her stories showing how perfect her life is. Yeah.
She probably posted like, be kind to everyone, and then went into the Vic and slagged off Frankie for like 20 minutes. Yeah, but Frankie, she stood her ground for a bit, but it did obviously get to her.
I think Frankie stood her ground very well, but
then she is good at standing her ground. Frankie, she doesn't let anyone take any
stick. But then they tried it with Mick, didn't they? They started doing like, oh, you do know what your staff's mum has been up to behind the scenes, and Mick,
it's like, you've never visited Walford, clearly.
I mean,
20 murderers here. It's fine. They're all welcome.
Bravo to John Send, because that was an opportunity for him to add like boom 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 music and sound effects. But he had an opportunity and he pulled away. I think
he knew I was doing the podcast this week.
He did.
Thought I better not.
Yeah.
Ben might be on the podcast.
I don't want to be riddled by Ben's hate. Yeah, you're the school bully, you are.
I am. I peaked at school.
Yeah. You stand outside L Street and take a photograph saying be kind.
No, I've never been to L Street, never been invited to L Street, so you know.
Well, let's hope
now restrictions are lifting, guys.
Let's
get a little set visit going.
We would love to visit the set and visit the cast and say hello. Mick also met up with his Mick also met up with his independent sexual violence advisor,
Iqra, or whatever it was called.
Isvar.
Tom. Because Frankie was like, that's a
Tom
weird
to
name.
His friends. What is an Isvar? And he's told that there's a good case behind Katie. There's 4 other people who have stepped forward, which was quite a relief to Mick, actually. And you could
kind of made him think, okay, it wasn't in my head then this is actually real.
Yeah, but also made Mick believe that he could maybe step back and it wouldn't be too much of a worry. She would still get a conviction if he didn't have to give.
Because he doesn't want to appear in court now, does he?
Yeah, he just doesn't want to get in. He doesn't. He's still worried about people knowing, and I think that's one of the reasons. Also, when in the pub, when those bullies were kind of making fun of him, instead of like escalating the problem, he kind of deliberately kind of extinguished it so that it didn't get any further. Like other people couldn't hear around the pub. It's unfair for me to say his pride, but technically his reputation is on the line a little bit.
Well, he probably feels embarrassed, doesn't he?
Yeah, and embarrassed.
He let this happen to him, or whatever, even though he was only 12.
Yeah, he was really young.
But I mean, I'm sure with cases like this, if you're the victim, you don't have to appear in court where your abuser is going to be. So I'm sure he can. You can either do a video link from home or do a written affidavit about it.
Right. Well, especially today, where obviously COVID, I would imagine they would want you in the courtroom anyway.
So he can still give his statement. I don't think you have to appear.
The only thing I can think is that it makes his evidence stronger if he was there to present it rather than have a letter, kind of as a third party reading it out on his behalf. But then I don't know. It's a really tricky, historical sexual abuse is a really difficult thing to prove, and I think
well, they got the DNA results, haven't they?
Well,
That's
yes,
pretty conclusive.
That's true. That's very true.
But it depends who did the DNA results in Walford, really.
But it's that's very true. That's very true. And he was. There's no doubt that he was underage when she slept with him. So that's solid evidence.
I do wonder if we're going to see Katie again, because this is all happening. We haven't seen her since like that New Year's episode, have we? When she got arrested, when Shirley punched her. It's like we need to see some more of her because she's good.
Yeah, no, Rob and I were saying last week that we'd be really into them doing an actual week of courtroom scenes where you see we
haven't had a good courtroom scene in ages. Whitney was the last one, wasn't it? But that was rubbish.
I'd be up for that big time. I full-heartedly agree with that. I think
Court
it'd be
drama.
Great. And it could be easily filmed, especially with plates and all that. I throw away plates as like this easy filming technique every week. It's like, I'll just make more plates. But you know what I mean. It could if they made a bubble. And like they did for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, when they had a bubble for Kate and Mick and Linda, and so they were able to do those very violent and very, moving scenes.
You wouldn't even need to do that in a court because they don't need to be near each other. She needs to sit in the thing, and he needs to sit in his thing.
Yeah, it would just be. But then there could be a scene outside the courtroom where Katie maybe comes up to Mick, and
I want to see Katie and Frankie have it out. Actually,
yeah,
we've
I'm
not really
surprised.
seen that side of it either, have we?
I'm surprised they've not done anything between them two as well, because Frankie was adamant that her mum had done nothing wrong, and almost overnight then changed her opinion, and now is moving in with the Carters and is on Team Mick. Which
nice to see the fine. Vic busy though, after Sharon's doom and gloom of empty, soulless living.
I mean,
second the Carters are there. There's customers everywhere. It's all sorts.
But Linda did have a hot flush this week.
Yeah.
Where is that leading, Ben?
I know. So many. I mean, Kelly Bright is pregnant. Another one on the list. That's 3 of them now, all on maternity leave, all the women, leading ladies of our lives. So yeah, is it like the introduction of her leaving storyline for... Such a shame, isn't it? I always say this when they get pregnant. It's like, such a shame, so selfish. Stacey's just come back. They just got back to the Vic, so I hope it's like just a casual exit, like she has to go help her mum again. But
it's the fact that they made it was a very pointed comment. That
I know they don't make comments anymore that are just like everyday. Yeah. Do you want a cup of tea? Like if someone said, "Do you want a cup of tea?" That will mean something in like 3 weeks' time.
Someone's going to die in a bath or something like that.
So yeah, hot flush. Is she menopause? Is it an illness?
Is the smell of alcohol getting to her?
Yeah, has she been drinking?
Has she been drinking again?
Pregnant?
Well, yes.
Max Brannan, hello.
Max's baby.
Max's power sperm. So yeah, who knows?
It's like
what
salmon;
it
swims upstream no matter what.
But yeah, I just want a nice casual exit for Linda, so it's not too much Carter drama. And obviously Frankie's moved into Nancy's bedroom, and we've got that coming up soon. So Linda will be going in a few months, but obviously we've got Nancy soon to
to even it out a little bit,
help things out.
I really do hope that it won't be something where Mick and Linda fall out, and that's the reason Linda leaves, because they've had so much of
that's
that.
What I mean.
They've
just gotten over everything.
Yeah, and it's just
so just have her mum have a stroke again, and that's what she had last time.
Give her mum a stroke and have done with it.
That's what it was last time, I think. Yeah. And then Linda had secret cancer and she didn't tell anyone, and then that's why she was off. It
could be a cancer storyline.
That's what I'm wondering. Hope not. No.
But then why would someone leave for a cancer storyline? So it has to be something where she needs to go.
Johnny's broken his arm, got shot again. She has to care for him. Do something like that.
I mean, I want to see that on screen. Because, to be honest with you. One final story then, and this is probably the big story, which is where Stacey has finally gone to prison. That sounds a bit mean, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. She's
her
put
fourth
her hands
stint,
up.
is it?
Yeah,
fourth or third stint in prison.
She's not very happy about it though. She's genuinely really hurt by it this time, and really, and it almost like the way she's given up and exhausted by the whole situation, and just kind of, I don't want to fight anymore.
Well, she's innocent this time.
But this is it. She's innocent, but she doesn't want to fight it. She just wants to get that. Was it 6 months? Was it? Because
we don't. 6 months.
6 months. She can get 6 months.
She
pled guilty, so she gets a shorter term, and she just wants to get it under her belt, back in time for September, where she can start a big storyline. Yeah,
Jean will die.
No, don't say that.
No. Yeah, good for Lacey Turner though, because she gave birth early, unexpectedly. Hadn't finished filming her exit scene, so she was there 1 week later.
Lovely.
She was back in there.
Topping up her scenes, getting a bit of a top up on.
So it was fun to spot. It was the scenes when Lily fell down the stairs and she was talking to Martin in the kitchen, where her baby bump's gone, and then it was back again a bit later. So,
but
good,
covered
good
well
for her,
with a handbag.
Literally a week after she's on it.
But Lacey Turner is no stranger to doing that, is she?
No, she loves it.
She as soon as she
live episode, she had the flu.
Well, no, she had worse than that. I think she had like laryngitis,
chronic flu.
Yeah, and she did the whole episode with like 101 temperature. But performed it like you would never have known. Lacey Turner is an absolute asset to that show, and
she likes the show, which is always a plus point.
Yeah, and she knows the show. She has knowledge of the show. She knows where her character should go, and which is why I feel like sometimes with Stacey's character, I don't know. Maybe Lacey kind of goes into the writers' room and says, "No."
Don't mess with me.
That's not happening. That's not what Stacey would do, and it's nice because Stacey's path from where she began to now just feels a natural path for her character. Her bipolar is still being discussed. Her relationship with her mum this week was really nice too, when she said that, you weren't able to look after me when I was younger. I'm not able to look after my kids right now because of the jail time that I'm having to take, but you're better now and I forgive you and I want you to look after my kids. And I just thought that interaction with her and Jean, but again, a scene with Jean is just perfect.
Those two, even remember 2 years ago when they had that scene over the phone when Jean was in the caravan, they weren't even in the same room with each other, and there was somehow chemistry. So these social distancing stuff, it doesn't really affect them. They can still pull it all out of the bag. And Jean stroked her hair with her hand coming in from the corner of the screen.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I did laugh when that happened. It's
only because we know what they're doing, so it almost makes it more obvious because so you're kind of looking for it.
But it's like you can get those little tiny doll hands. It reminded me. I just expected this tiny little doll hand to come into shot and just stroke Stacey's hair and then come out of shot again. But
it's very nice. I mean, Jean's obviously struggling. Everyone seems to be missing from the house. Like she said, Kat's just never here anymore, which was weird because then the next episode she was in the cafe.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you get Jessie Wallace for Lacey's exit?
The only thing I can think of is because that she's not in that bubble.
Yeah, but it was outside. Because Sharon and Ruby and all that were in the scenes.
Were they in the same scene as that?
They could have had Jessie Wallace plate shotted in.
Yes, no, that's true. But
or
then
stood behind a brick wall somewhere, like Mo was.
But maybe they thought that it wasn't necessarily needed for that moment. But I suppose it was needed because Kat's meant to be like the matriarch of the whole Slater family. You would have thought she would have been the last one having the shouting match about she was stand up for yourself, not Lily.
She was up in arms when Stacey was on the run for hitting Phil last year. She wouldn't let that rest. And now she's up his
Is she
in his trousers? So yeah, it's
up his arches.
Yeah, up her arches.
Up her arches.
And I feel also we may have had the last ever scene of Big Mo and Stacey, because Big Mo will probably be gone by the time Lacey Turner's back.
Oh,
so that could be the last ever scene. As just stood behind a brick wall, going, "See you later, mate." Chin up.
Yeah, chin
all
up.
4 of them.
Yeah. Don't forget, cigarettes are currency in prison. So
that's a bit sad, I think. I mean, she said she will come back, Big Mo, every now and then.
She said she'll come back for bits and pieces.
Stacey wedding, she may appear.
Do you think Stacey's going to have another wedding? Do you think
at some point between now and 2060, yeah.
Do you think Stacey and Martin are going to get back together again? Because
I hope so. Stacey and Martin are like end game.
Martin and Ruby don't seem to be very happy, do they really? And Ruby just seems to be trying every trick in the book to try to keep Martin on her side.
Yeah.
And eventually
and away
she's going to
from
run
the kids.
Yeah, and now the kids have moved in with them thanks to Lily. And Lily, I love Lily, was like, you didn't think that one coming, did you? And Ruby's
bitch.
like, yeah. But poor Jean was left on her own in the kitchen after she went to get afternoon tea.
I know, because Lily gave her those really good ideas and like really helped Jean like be happy, and then she came home and she was like, no, we've gone, sorry. So yeah, I mean, I must say the actress of Lily, I know we're not 100% behind the recast because of old Lily, Claudia Winkleman, but she is a very good actress.
I know, I enjoy her acting.
She's going up against Lacey Turner, Gillian Wright. No, is it Gillian Wright?
Yeah,
Gillian Wright, Jean. You know, she's holding herself very well. So, and she looks just like Stacey.
It's just that they gave Lily personality transplant.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. But no, honestly, the actor, the young actress is fantastic. I've got no problem with her at all, and she's playing the role brilliantly.
Her and Will, future
future relationship. Janet got the job also. We should mention that as well at the talent agency. So she's going to be doing an advert. Is that right? Will was a bit dismissive of Janet this week. He was a bit like, we're only doing this to keep her happy.
Well, it's his
all right, Will.
His sister don't care, does he? He wants a storyline.
He's becoming a teenager, isn't he? Like, his voice was so deep.
I know.
Like, the whole lounge was vibrating when he was like, hello, Lily. Like, Christ.
But yeah, those two need to be kept alive. Lily and
Will, absolutely.
Lily, Slater and Will.
Mitchell, Slater.
Imagine all those connections on the family tree.
I know.
Gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we talk about. You know, they're legacy characters. Don't kill them off, one. And also, keep them on the soap, but keep them bubbling along the background. And they could have a nice relationship story in the background coming soon. Yeah,
10 years' time, we've got the Lexis, Amy Mitchell, Ricky Branning, sorry.
Richie.
See, all these, they need to be... Tommy as well. Where's he gone? He's disappeared.
You said that at the top of the show.
His dyslexia storyline.
Oh yeah, what happened to Tommy? Because Tommy was being looked after by Kush.
I know. And he's gone.
Kush is gone. Tommy's like, no, that's not going to help me to score anymore.
I think something's changed in Kush's exit with his like gambling addiction and stuff. It's all very because it got leaked early, didn't it? And now I think they've done a U-turn somewhere.
As long as he doesn't die.
Well, he will.
If they've recorded him dying, there's still time. EastEnders.
I mean, they haven't announced that Carmel's coming back for 2 episodes for some reason, at least. So let's hope that if he dies, maybe Carmel would come back.
Well, if that was to happen, I hope that it would be a surprise then.
I don't want him to die, so I don't want Carmel to be announced.
No, of course not. Or bring Carmel back just so that you can have like a goodbye. They could have a Julia's theme at the end together in the taxi. That was a crime. She was never given Julia's theme. It's
such a crime that Kush has been axed because him and Whitney could make a really good couple as well.
I agree, but I don't see there's a longevity there. The problem with Kush,
she could be happy for once, old Whitney. She needs that.
But the problem is that Kush and Whitney both have relationships which never seem to last very long. So they were doomed from the start. As soon as they got together, we knew that they were going to be doomed from the start.
Yeah, but I want them to be together.
Well, fine.
Whitney needs some happiness,
well, maybe
not more
Whitney
misery.
will go with him.
No, she won't. She'll get with Gray. We all know that's going to happen.
Well, yes, we all know that's the story.
And then she's going to uncover Kush's body in the basement one day or something.
Or Tina's.
Or both.
Yeah. Well, how many bodies? There might
Louisa has another job doing. She's doing an audiobook now for someone, so she's definitely off the BBC books. So our theory that Tina's alive is slowly.
Tina could still be alive. It's just that she won't come back for a long time. That's my point. It's the same as I think that. I mean,
Shirley's still looking for Tina, isn't she, in Spain?
Yeah, that was her exit. Yeah,
searching France, wherever she is.
I think she's given up looking and just
on the vodka.
Just bathing in the sunshine. But I'm still convinced Vincent's alive as well. And I know a lot of people disagree with me.
Vincent has to be, but he's in Hollyoaks now, so.
Yeah, but they can recast
the number one soap.
Yeah. I got a feeling that this is where the Foxcatcher story's heading. Like,
Vincent would appear
go
as
on
a
his
profile.
books. I was like, just something really dumb like that. No. You know, I'd enjoy it. I'd give him a buy for that. So we're just going to take a quick break of Ben and I talking, and Rob has sent us a message for his take of this week's EastEnders.
Hello and welcome to my little segment. Now, As the boys have no doubt explained, I'm on a B-roll this week. You know, like how there might be some big reveal or car crash or explosion going on in the show. And then on the Tuesday episode, you might have Sonia and Tiffany having a cup of tea and a natter about tea towels or something in the kitchen. Well, that's me this week. I'm sort of the tea towel discussion. Well, except it's not about tea towels, it's about EastEnders. I mean, personally, I think this is more to do with the Lloyd Grossman controversy from last week. Queen Victoria causing trouble again. Killer that she is. Anyway, on to this week. And what a week. What a week. Now, do you remember when Stacey once turned around to Kat and said that she loved her like a sister? Or that time Kat told Stacey that she would always have her back, no matter what? Yes, me too. But apparently, we're the only ones that do, because Kat sure as hell doesn't. So, while Stacey was walking down the road with her head held high, tears streaming down her face on her way to prison for the next 6 months, or however long it takes to have a baby these days, Kat was nowhere to be seen. They even wheeled Mo out to wave Stacey off, but Kat was seemingly far more interested in Phil. I mean, it wasn't even as if Kat wasn't in this week. She was, but she didn't have a single line of dialogue. Not one. She appeared twice, once nodding dutifully as Phil ushered her out of the kitchen so that he could let Sharon in, and then once to glare at Phil from across the calf as he stared questioningly at a potato. I mean, is this the Kat we need to expect now? Seriously, Marie spoke more than Kat did this week. Where was she when Stacey was being carted off to prison? In fact, where has Kat been throughout the entirety of the Stacey-Ruby story? I know we're repeatedly told that Phil Mitchell is the best lay since Casanova took a Viagra, but are we seriously meant to believe that Kat would be having zero involvement in this story? Not one scene of her storming across to have a go at Ruby, or to tell Martin he's a rubbish dad for being part of his kid's mum being sent to prison? Come on, EastEnders, stop it. Of course, one good thing to come out of this was the fact that it gave us some great Jean scenes. Now, I did feel for Jean. Not only has she been left to care for the devil child in the form of Lily, who, by the way, has already reached the stage of psycho Walford child that Janine spent years building up to. She's hurling herself down the stairs, wild abandon. What's she going to do next? But Jean's now been left apparently completely on her own. Considering the Slater house once had about 28 people living in it, it does seem unlikely that Ruby will be the only one to know her secret for much longer. Although, if she really needs someone to talk to, she could always try, you know, the doctor. Meanwhile, Bobby, or should that be Robert Hill, is taken to his new role like a duck to water, isn't he? I mean, seriously, from slapping condoms on Suki's counter to sitting in the restaurant claiming he owned the business to his new date, whilst he was sitting there sporting this ridiculous combination of like a gold chain, sunglasses, like some form of Poundland incarnation of Kanye West. It seems that Bobby has completely abandoned any pretense of being himself. Now, I think there is a story in here somewhere that's quite sad, where we're looking at someone who is so low on self-esteem that he looks up to somebody like Peter Beale as an idol. Now, as light-hearted as the date scenes were, I really hope that they continue exploring Bobby's thought process. I did think it was ever so slightly odd that his date seemed to be showing quite strong signs that she has COVID, you know, that pandemic that's affecting the rest of the world that Walford seems to just be kind of ignoring. And he was quite happy to sit there with her while she was talking about the fact that she had no taste, no smell, nothing like that. Come on, EastEnders, don't say you've forgotten that already. I know that the whole scared of COVID thing led into his OCD and his counting and all of that sort of thing, but I do think that all of that was a great little character facet and it shouldn't be forgotten about. And Clay Milner-Russell has more than proved time and time again that he can make any story or script thrown at him fantastic. So here's hoping that they give the actor the opportunity to keep making Bobby the amazing character that he is turning out to be with every passing month. Although I still say that the woman that Bobby should be with was that first date that he had that really suited him. The one that he kind of ran away from at Ruby's. And the actress was called Libby Fox, don't forget. Let's not let that opportunity pass by, eh? Talking of dates, how exactly did we go from Whitney and Kush eating an awful, terrible pizza to Whitney proposing to Kush in the middle of the square? Can someone please explain to me how this has happened? Kush's court date continues to loom, and it seems that Whitney wants to give him some vague sense of hope that he's got something exciting to come back to when he eventually gets out. Now, this all comes about because she agrees to be Gray's +1 at some form of lawyer event that for some reason is happening at Ruby's, of all places, where Gray manages to get Whitney to wear not only Chantel's jewellery, but indeed her dress. He's going a little bit nuts, isn't he? Well, I don't give a monkey's how nuts he's going. I'm telling you now, if he murders Kush, I'm going to storm onto the set of Albert Square, chain myself to the gates until the decision is reversed. I mean, I don't just mean this from somebody who the writers are looking at and seeing a viewer who is so, emotionally invested in Kush as a character that it would create wonderful drama to see him being bludgeoned to death or something by the Square's latest nut job. I mean, it would be seriously unacceptable as a story. Seriously, EastEnders, don't do it. I have to say, for me, the point in Gray as a character is depleting rapidly. It started off as such a great part of a really important story that has just been completely forgotten about in favour of sort of typical soapy melodrama, and it just feels wrong. I still don't believe he's killed Tina, but I do not need him murdering Kush to prove that he's the psycho that we think he is. His comeuppance cannot come soon enough. Meanwhile, we finally discovered more about Mila the barmaid this week. Now, in a story that has gone on for so much longer than I thought it was ever capable of doing, Kim's Foxcatcher dating agency, it now appears to have somehow reached levels where she can hire a photographer to drum up more business courtesy of the Walford Gazette. And from here, we discover that Mila is effectively on the run from her family, who did not react terribly well to the discovery that she's gay, to the point where she is running away from them trying to send her to conversion therapy. Now then, I think this is really, really interesting. I might be alone in this, but I would love to see EastEnders tackle this. Conversion therapy is something that no other soap has gone near with a barge pole, and it is still somehow technically legal in the UK. I think it would be fascinating to see it. Whether the show will or will not tackle this remains to be seen, but talking about something that should have been made illegal years and years ago, and making people aware that it does still go on and people are still suffering because of it, that can only be a good thing. I think there's fewer genres than soaps that can take these issues and face them head on to raise awareness and to help people. Now, it does seem that Mila, or Roby as she was once known, has some other skeletons in her closet, but I, for one, am really excited by the potential that she has as a character. She might even be able to bring Iqra to the forefront and make Iqra this incredible character that I think she might have the potential to be. Time will tell. What else? Oh yeah, Sharon bought the gym. Why? Sharon's bought the gym, and she's clearly also got her eye on Kheerat. Now, I mean, I blame Keanu purely for all of this. Not only have their constant workouts that they used to have in the back of the cars in the Archers given Sharon a taste for men that are so much younger than her. I mean, she's such a cougar. I love it. But apparently Sharon now has the business know-how to run an actual gymnasium, giving us yet another delightful addition to the square that really shouldn't be allowed to exist at the moment. I have to say, I'd forgotten about the gym completely. The fact that it still had Ronnie's name written on the side I thought was a nice touch, but I can't help but wonder how exactly Sharon is going to work in this sort of environment. Although she does seem to be sort of intending on taking a leaf out of Kathy's book and sort of buying all of these businesses and giving all the hard work to other people to do and just focusing on paperwork that we're never going to see. Mind you, her new brother looks like he'd fit quite well into a sort of gymnasium type place, so maybe this is all just preamble so that Zach has somewhere to be slotted into nicely when he arrives properly on the square. Also, if you think I'm talking about Sharon this week and not mentioning that beautiful shot of her leaving the Archers and being silhouetted in the dark against the sort of street lights as she was leaving, then you're very much mistaken. Credit where credit's due, that was one hell of a shot. Also, she seems to be wearing the beret of grief as a sort of standard fashion accessory these days, because Sharon knows what we love. And that's all from me for my thoughts for the week. Overall, not a brilliant week, but there are some potentially interesting little nuggets to be mined from the likes of Bobby and Mina. Fingers crossed. I'll be back next week. In the meantime, feel free to comment on anything I've said on YouTube or on Facebook, or throw me an email on robwalfordweekly@gmail.com. Now, it's back over to the boys. Bye!
So we're going to go now to your comments on our Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook group on I Ain't Want to Gossip.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So from Twitter, first of all, at Black Widow Watts, good name, has said, I guess now Chelsea has served her purpose for Lucas's return. She will fade into eternal Kim Patrick Cherie territory of barely ever appearing again.
She's not even been mentioned. Like, this whole Lucas storyline went on for bloody months.
It was a drag, wasn't it?
And now the repercussions of it are like, no one cares. No one cares that a murderer was on a square. And now that he's been locked up and gone, it's just like, carry on as usual. So all feels a bit pointless, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they've brought in a really good actress, and there's a potential for a really good storyline.
She's not in
now.
any spoilers coming up at all, not mentioned.
I mean, but the purpose of Lucas's story was to bring Chelsea back into the show.
That's what we all thought, but
Well, it has to be. They can't just now write her off.
Well, she's gone to Birmingham, hasn't someone reminded me that Lucas got her a place in Birmingham for a new start. So is that where she is? She not in Walford anymore?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it was like on there because he said, "Oh, you can have a new start in Birmingham," kind of because that's where he was going to have his new start, wasn't it?
What?
So I don't know if she's there and then she's going to come back in a few weeks.
No.
Maybe this was like a 3-month contract and they were seeing how she was and then they'll bring her back in.
Well, okay, that's fine,
Well,
but
it seems a bit
bring her
weird,
back
doesn't it?
because she
Like, why
was
recast
fine.
her?
She was exactly. She was good. Bring her back.
Also, Jordan says hi.
But that's my point. I was about to get to. They killed Jordan for this. Or
It's
have
very
they? I
odd.
don't know. But
Very bizarre.
no, they have to bring her back. Hopefully, they're priming her now for a big story, and that's why they're giving her a little gap, a little rest. And
Well,
then...
she passed the test. I mean, she was Miss Actress, wasn't she? So bring her back.
At Postmodern Sleaze on Twitter says, without a doubt, the best way to keep Grey around, since the producers seem smitten with him, is just have his murder spree continue indefinitely. It's going to happen.
Until he just kills everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this is their plan with him, wasn't it? This is basically the Wayland. Is it not Wayland? Who was the guy on Coronation Street?
Anyway, the bold guy from Coronation
Yeah,
Street.
basically, this was their plan with him. They were going to do like a serial murder, like they did exactly what Kate Oates did on Coronation Street, and
Emmerdale.
Emmerdale, and then they saw a character in Grey that they could do it with.
Yeah, but they invented the character of Grey, and it seems like they didn't always have this plan.
No, I think the plan was.
They should have done it with Adam, the dentist, I think, instead.
Oh, absolutely. But then if you notice, Adam's story was almost parallel
Replaced,
to
yeah.
what was Grey's story became, and it's weird that they didn't want. They obviously. I think they then thought, oh, you know what, we want to do this story, and they want the victim to end up being killed. So then they thought, well, we don't want Honey to die.
Can you imagine that? That would have been so good. I like Honey, but
Yeah.
like a killer dentist as well. Like he would have had all the anaesthetic stuff at home.
It's
and
like
all
Little
sorts
Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. Exactly. He has the tools to do it. Yeah, you're right. The laughing gas and all that.
I would have preferred to have just looked into Grey's his abuse when he was a child. I would have much preferred that, but we've said that all before.
Yeah.
We're not getting it. So.
We can't go back on
Get
what
over it.
We've got. No. Don't forget, guys, you can get in touch with us on our Twitter and Instagram. All you have to do is search at Walford Weekly. We also have a Facebook group with a great community. Just search Walford Weekly Podcast on that.
I also say, EastEnders cast cards, look him up on Instagram. He wrote to June Brown recently.
Yes.
She wrote a letter back, and I suggest you go there and read it because it's very interesting.
What
And she gave him a free scarf.
yeah,
on the
and
dot
a pin
scarf.
and a pin badge.
Yeah.
No.
So June Brown's still there. But yeah, go read that letter because it's very interesting.
What's his
Read between the lines.
Yeah, look him up. It's EastEnders_cast cards on Instagram. Great,
Yes.
great. I'm looking at the post right now, and yeah, it's fantastic. There's a June Brown signed autograph.
You have to zoom in
Photograph.
on her letter, but she
Yeah.
typed up a letter reply to him, and it's just read between the lines. It's interesting.
Really interesting. You can get in touch with me, alexwalfordweekly@gmail.com. Rob will be back next week. If you want to get in touch with him, it's robwalfordweekly@gmail.com. Tell him how much you've missed him. He'd like
You can't
that.
get in touch with me.
No, Ben's well, you can, but I
No.
won't give you his details. He's an enigma.
I'm a Letitia Dean. I only have a fan site that runs things for me.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can also find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or any of your favourite podcast apps. We'll be back next week with the rundown of EastEnders. Have a lovely Easter weekend, and goodbye.
Yes, goodbye. I'll see you sometime soon. A review of 96 is coming up soon, I think, so I'll be there for that.
Bye then.
Bye.